welcome to the weekly extended spiritual guidance for this week of November 7th through the 13th of 2022. Let us change this little block actually to the 13th, at least, so we'll leave it there, the 13th. Although we should change it to the 7th actually, because today is the 7th. On Monday. All right, so this is where we expand on the talk that we had in the weekly spiritual guidance. Make sure that you watch that one first. It's like a first 15 to 20 minute introduction, and this is where we just sit back with a nice cup of coffee and let the divine give us some more guidance and counsel for life in general. It's not just for this week, because these are tips that we can apply in our day-to-day life forever. And part of what came up this week are two main themes, right? Are that of cleaning up our life, and from scratch, starting again from scratch. Maybe you need to do something again. Maybe this is failed experiments, failed projects that maybe didn't come out exactly as you expected. Or maybe it's like about building from where you left off. All right, so it can have multiple meanings. That's like the beauty of these messages, is that it's very different for every situation, every person, and also for different areas of your life. Like it could be related to maybe when it comes to your relationships, but maybe it can also be related to your career, but have a slight different significance. So this is where, personal spiritual guidance comes in. Booking a personal soul coaching session with me is going to help you tremendously, because it's just more that goes into this message. And I'm actually going to be right back. I'm actually going to turn on my fireplace. It just turned on, off the virtual, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I have two fireplaces actually, one in like right there in the corner, and one of them is in my bedroom, and one of them is like in my office here. So alright, so this week, what areas can you clean up? Now this is not only, again, like I said, your physical space, but this is related to patterns. This is deep core as well. This is not just something that is maybe like apologizing, right? It's much deeper than this. This is like years and years of buildup, and maybe even generational. That's how deep I feel this week is. This can be, addictions that have been passed down. Like if you've had any of your, maybe like a grandfather or a past ancestor that maybe had an alcohol problem, and now you find yourself struggling with alcohol issues, maybe overdoing it, or maybe other kind of substance that you're addicted to, and maybe this is related to like a past generation that has been passed on either to you, and maybe what's triggered it can be stress, uncomfortable or difficult situations in your life, or maybe just phases that you're going through. As a counselor myself, and years working in the psychology field as a therapist, and I actually did work in one phase of my life in a substance abuse home with women specifically who were dealing with either drug or alcohol addictions. And I also dealt with juvenile delinquency, which a lot of them were substance abuse, like whether that be smoking or whether that be alcohol. And a lot of the times I found and came to the conclusion that it was not necessarily an addiction to that substance, but it was like a need, a dependency, and not only on the substance itself, but on something much deeper. Could be like a need or a want to feel loved, to feel wanted, to feel needed, to be seen. Maybe a lot of these children or women had issues with their family of origin, so their parents, the person or the people that raised them. So maybe if they didn't have parents, it was their grandparents, or maybe their adopted family, or maybe it was just also abuse. A lot of the cases, a lot of these women were domestic violence victims, And a lot of the children had issues in their family, always coming from dysfunctional families. And this is just like maybe why we're talking about this today, because I did a lot of work in this field for a lot of years in my psychology work, is working with abuse situations, violence, dysfunctional families. I did study specifically marriage and family. That's what I mastered in, marriage and family therapy. And so I had to, a period of my life, work with families. And I actually even drove to families' homes a lot in one of my jobs. And it was just incredible to see that, you know, all the issues stemmed from the core root of where they came from. If it was a school issue that they were struggling with, it always came back to the home, right? What was dysfunctional there? What was the issue? Was there a marriage issue going on as well? And whatever the children saw growing up, that's what they let out. Like they transmuted into other areas of their life. So that created issues in their life. Maybe that was school issues, you know, they were dealing with bad grades, or they were being rebellious, trying to catch someone's attention. They were acting out is the word, right? And a lot of people can do this even as adults. You know, this is not just a children's syndrome. Adults can act out by cheating on their spouses or their partner, right? I also deal a lot with couples therapy, and a lot of the times, you know, it was something else more internal, and sometimes it had nothing to do with that other person, or maybe it was like lack of communication. And like I feel like what this week is bringing is like a lot of this disharmony in relationships, maybe in family. Maybe it could even be spilling over into your financial pocket. Maybe it could be spilling over even into your career or your self-confidence, which will affect how you show up to your career, how you show up to places, to people, to your relationships, right? It all begins with self, our self-worth, our self-value. And I feel like a lot of this is a little bit imbalanced, and maybe it's been an issue in why a lot of people haven't been able to really achieve their goals, their dreams. And there's been like a lot of failure. And this is a week for reflection of how we can start from scratch. Maybe when it comes to chasing these goals, making these dreams happen. Maybe you tried an approach this year and maybe it didn't work out, right? Maybe it was the wrong turn. Maybe it was that wrong decision that you made. Maybe what clouded you was your own inner turmoil or your own self-projection of what you thought you deserved. And maybe God is today telling you that you deserve better, and you don't even know this because you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe that you have value or worth to give. And for any of you out there dealing with any self-worth issues, I'm here to tell you that you are lovable, you deserve to be loved, you deserve to be treated right, and you deserve the best, right? And maybe a lot of you out there maybe don't think that you are the best, or that you are worthy of maybe being worthy of someone else. And like this can be a vicious cycle that everybody could deal with, and then nobody ends up being happy that way, right? So God is telling us to trust in your worth and know that you're worthy of something valuable in life. And this doesn't only have to do with love, but it's also when it comes to your dreams, achieving your goals, making things happen for yourself, having your independence, making a name for yourself, leaving your legacy. You deserve all these great things. And a lot of the messages from these dailies this week confirm that we need to just believe in the impossible to make it possible. And we need to have nerve to get it done, to even put ourselves out there and be willing to even put ourselves in the gamble, you can say, right? Because in order to win the lottery, you can't just expect to win the lottery if you don't even play the lottery, right? You need to actually play to give yourself a chance to win. And this is the week where God is telling us, you know, give yourself this chance to win by just simply showing up. And if you don't win, guess what? It's a lesson. And you can always play again next time, right? And there's an infinite amount of times that you can play. There's never a time when the lottery is going to tell you, you played out your number of times that you can play, right? You can play forever as long as you have the money to play, you're healthy enough to play, right? So this is a beautiful message today, because this is definitely, you know, a week where we can really believe in the impossible. And whatever it is that has been keeping us in our fears or keeping us holding back, God is telling us to let that doubt go, because it's gonna hold you back and you're gonna miss out, and you don't want to get left behind. That's a strong message that I've been getting like written all over my resurrection presentations. You definitely want to check those out. They are provided by my Lightworker University. They are special paid events. Those are, you know, I do throughout the year, I do special paid events provided by the Lightworker University, and they complement what I do in the free motivational speeches that I do on a yearly basis, which are coming up this November for 2023. And everything's on my YouTube channel, all the free ones, and the sneak peeks are also on my YouTube channel. You can check out the playlist of the Lightworker University. And you know, this is definitely the energy, is like you don't want to get left behind by not showing up, by not doing something about it, by not changing your life around, by not getting your act together, by not cleaning up your life, by not believing in yourself. So God is really telling us to really build up this courage and do whatever it takes to get there. To get there, not necessarily to make it to the top, but just to simply show up to the game, to simply show up to the race, right? And then after then you figure out what you do then, right? But it's like the initial step that needs to be taken first. It's almost like we are almost being pressured. It's almost like, imagine that you only have like a couple weeks left to show up someplace, and you're nowhere near ready, or you don't feel ready more than anything, because you might be ready, but like our own dysmorphic self inside, internally, will tell ourselves that we are not ready because we don't feel ready, right? And this becomes a whole like vicious cycle within our own mental self. And someone externally might tell you that it might be possible if you just do this one thing, right? Or maybe you kind of like tighten things up, maybe pressure yourself a little more, maybe step it up a notch, step up your game, and you might be ready, right? But it's all begins mental. Remember, life is a mental game, right? And so I feel like this week God is really giving us this push as the external observer. God is giving us this confirmation that you can possibly get ready and you can believe in miracles. Remember, that was what's coming up this week. Believe in miracles because they are real. And the miracle itself can be this example that I'm telling you, you know, being ready when you don't feel ready. And whatever this is, this can be a new relationship that maybe God is guiding you towards. Maybe you don't feel ready to jump into a new relationship or get to know someone new or start again from scratch, because again, that's also the energy this week. Clean up the past. Maybe you don't feel ready, but maybe God sees that you are more ready than you think. Maybe it's something related to your career. Maybe you need to jump yourself to an opportunity that you don't feel ready, but maybe you're more than ready and you just need that little push of reassurance that you're ready. Maybe it's like a special event that you need to show up to and you don't feel ready, so you don't even put yourself there. You don't even, you don't even make that call, or you don't even just sign up to the event because you don't feel ready. But God is telling us that we're more ready than we think. Maybe I channeled this in my part 3 resurrection presentation, which is called the Revelations. There's this one last small boat. I don't even want to say ship because it's not a big ship. It's a small lifeboat. A lifeboat that's coming for the light workers who've been left behind. And it's like a small boat for just a couple out there who are even on the verge of like needing actual saving, right? Like imagine you're drowning in like your emotions. You feel like so alone at life. And it's almost like this lifeboat that's coming back, or coming for the first round, or whatever it is, coming back, I feel, because usually in like the movie Titanic, the lifeboats came back, right, after the ship sank. And this is interesting because the ship, Titanic, that's sinking is representing the collective. It's representing the people in the dark. It's representing, and it's interesting that that card came out on the weekend message, because this is what my 3-day special motivational speech is going to be about. It's definitely going to be about the light and the dark, the duality of this. The whole theme is like black and white, so it's definitely the theme for this year. For next year, should I say, for the end of this year, moving into next year. And it's like this, the collective is Titanic. It's the ship sinking. And it's like the ship of dreams that people thought could never sink. They are unstoppable, they are untouchable. They're all in their ego, right? They're all in their greed. They're all in their physical flesh. How good they look, what money they have, what they have to show to society. And all of that is tumbling down as if like a big tower moment. And they don't even see it coming yet. That's the issue. That's the irony, right? Because in Titanic, it was spontaneous. They didn't see it coming. And the last lifeboat that's coming, which will probably come after the sinking, obviously, right? We're all still on this big ship. But I guess like we're a little foretelling of what's coming next, and this is definitely a topic that I'm going to expand in that presentation, in that speech, but it's more specific to breaking it down into 3 also subtopics and related to that big theme. But this week is definitely that strong energy. It's like the ship is about to sink, we don't see it coming, and we're not going to see it coming. It's going to come out of nowhere, and this could be something worldwide even that will shock everybody. And these light workers need to know that we will be saved by our angels, the angels coming back, right, in this lifeboat. If these beings weren't angelic, they wouldn't have come back, right? They would have been like, who cares about those souls out there? Who cares if they're survivors, right? If they wouldn't have a good heart inside, they wouldn't have come back. But they did, because they had compassion. They had feelings, because they are also human. Right? And that's what us light workers feel as empaths, as being also human, as a living flesh, right? Even though we're angelic, maybe we're earth angels and light workers here, we're still human at the end of the day. So we feel human emotions. We feel everything that a human would feel. And this gives us compassion to be able to work with the collective and help them to also rise. And then at the same time, parallel, help the world as a collective, earth, rise as well. And this is what's sinking with all this darkness. It's like just the vibration of it. It's like metaphoric as well. It's also very metaphysical. It's the vibration that's dropping. The more things, bad things happen in someone's life or in the world, it's because the vibration is very low. If you're living in a golden era, which we did once live in a golden era, in a golden age, the ancient Egyptians lived that. Everything was going spectacular. Everything was thriving. Everything was multiplying. Everything was gold. Because they were in the highest vibrational era, in the highest vibrational time ever. And we are going to return to that eventually in the future. And I also did channel this at the beginning of this year. And like the special trailer that I did like a little movie. And I'm going to probably like either repost it or make a new one. But it's definitely what's coming next. It's like this golden age that we're building up to still. And this is just the beginning. And it's almost like we need to get to the worst before we get to the best. And I did say this a long time ago in like one of my Lightworker University presentations. And it's almost like this is still building up. Like the peak of the worst probably is, I feel like there's still one last peak. And then we might kind of like already start like diminishing and start getting now like back to normal, okay? Because you know, worldwide we're still not back to normal. If we want to be honest, you know, there's a lot of things happening in the world that are not normal, right? And this is affecting everybody. And I also want you to think outside of where you live, especially if you live in America. You know, we're very shielded in America. Outside America, there's a lot of tragic things happening. And more tragic things that might be happening in your personal life. You know, there's children dying and starving in other areas of this world that we don't see. And God is wanting us to kind of widen our perspective this week and be grateful for what we have, and maybe brainstorm how we can help others, even if it's from a distance, because the world is needing our help. And how we can get into this mind state of very humanitarian and very philanthropic is by being in a high vibration, right? Being in a healed state. And you don't need to be 100% healed to start working and healing others, right? It's just about having that heart to want to help. And that's definitely, you know, what's coming up for this week, for us to think about. And you know, not everybody has like talents to be able to help others, or even the time, but maybe they have the money. Maybe they can donate money. You know, I know that a lot of people, and I was once one of these thinkers that thought, you know, people would just give money to like charity funds, or just doing it for the public to see how good people they are. But what if that's all they can do? You know, what if they don't have the time to maybe show up someplace or help others, or maybe they don't even have the talents or the skills to be able to do it, but maybe they do have the money. So at least that's doing their part. That's their role that God has given them, to give the money to the people who need it, to do the light work. So that's good enough, right? And I feel like that's why everybody has something to do. Everybody has a role to play. Nobody is diminished from this, or nobody is left out from this mission. God's mission is including everybody. And I feel like that's what we're, you know, really thinking about this week, or you should be thinking about this week, because it's going to flow into the good blessings that are going to come for you in your life and in your future by how much you give back to others, and the true purity with which you do it above anything, right? That's the more important thing of all, is keeping our soul pure, our hearts in alignment with being good people, and wanting to just help with what we can do best, and with whatever it is that we can do. So let's get into our little oracle reading, which I always do love to bring this into the extended, because I don't use these in the intuitive weekly spiritual guidance. It's just more like just intuitive. But now I do like to bring this in just to kind of give us a little bit more prompts to go at with the energy. Oh my God, you see, I just don't make this up. This is just so beautiful, right? When everything is like in alignment. It says, I am of service to the world because I am inspirational. I am a leader and I am influencing. This is our affirmation this week. This is what's going to help not only motivate us to be more influential, but to want to be more of service in whatever way that means, even if it's from a distance, if that's all you can do, if that's what's safest for you as well, right? Therefore, I influence others to do good in their lives. And that is also, I want to say, the power of technology, the power of the internet, these times that we have, right? All my work is done via internet, via online, because that's what God has guided me to do. You know, I've done a lot of work in the field already for like 10 years, and I don't know if, you know, maybe that's what I'm meant to be doing, you know, in the next phase of my life. But for where I'm at right now and where I've been in the past 3 years, what's safest for me has been where I'm at. And God only knows why, right? But I feel like, you know, God is telling us to, you know, just continue to be of service in whatever way God tells you to be. Now let's get some angel messages for this week. Okay, yeah. Dear Archangel Jeremiah, who is a mentor and teacher, thank you for clearly guiding us to see ourselves and others through the eyes of love. And this is also about, maybe you can mentor someone or be a teacher to the people, because you know a lot already if you're a light worker, right? Thank you for finding me my earthly helpers, and thank you that I may be that light to others as well. Love, your divine child. So definitely the energy for this week getting confirmed. And let us get more spiritual guidance for this week. I do like this message here. It says, love wholeheartedly, love your life, and be passionate about it. I do feel like there is a lot of passion coming up with this energy of wanting to be of service, because we're becoming passionate about it. When you're passionate about what you do, about the philanthropic work that you do, that's when you're able to give your best wholeheartedly, right? And I feel like that's what God is wanting us to get into. That's the energy that's going to help you thrive. Journal as well. That's going to help us also with anything that you're dealing within. Maybe just journaling your thoughts, your experiences, your memories, and indulge in life's pleasures. That's the reward that we get, right? For always being of service and showing up to others. And a continuous message: dream the impossible, seek the unknown, and achieve greatness. And now rest, because you deserve it. We will get the rest that we need when we deserve it, right? After we've done the work. And this is again reminding us that if you feel like there's like maybe like a couple days in your week, or you feel like you've been non-stop working, you will get the rest. The holidays are coming up as well. God knows these miraculous ways of always rewarding us. You know, every reward and trip that I've been rewarded with this year has been spontaneous, to be honest. And it's been at exactly the time that I needed it. When I was like about to be burned out, but then I got that vacation, I came back stronger, and I kept going. And look at it, we're almost at the end of this year and we're still going. And we're only going stronger. So definitely that is the main message for this week. Just keep going, trust the journey, trust yourself, keep showing up, have faith, and know that things are gonna improve as well. Because I know that still things are not exactly as we envisioned or as we would like it to be, right? But it's only gonna get better. Trust this and trust God. Have an amazing and beautiful week, and I'll see you all next week. Make sure that you do check out my Instagram page for a little extra behind the scenes counseling session, a little extra assignment and reflection for this week according to this week's energies. Go to @Christy_Ramirez_soul coaching. And of course, I'll see you all next week for all of you YouTubers here on my YouTube channel. Namaste.